What's up, guys and gals? It's Jared from Saving Abel here, and I'm glad to be here because you, my friends, are addicted. And if you're addicted to anything, it's metalholics. Stick around.
Jared with Saving Abel, all the way from Mississippi, Georgia, wherever you guys are all from down south, different areas there and everything. But you're back here tonight in Boise. It's wonderful to have you back.
We've always had a good time in Boise, man. The crowds have always been multiple, coming here. We've been here with Puddle of Mud, Sick Puppies, so many people, and we've been here a few times ourselves, headlining, and it's just been a venue that we've always looking forward to coming back to, and today's the day.
Yeah, right. Last time you guys were here, I think you were here with Redline Chemistry and a couple others.
Yep,
but
that's right.
It's wonderful to have you back again. And of course, this time though, you got the brand new album out.
Yes, sir. Bringing Down the Giant. Yeah,
which is a beast of an album.
Thank you, man. We're really proud of it. We actually had time to sit down and write this one. We got the creative juices flowing. We got everything. We even played banjo, mandolin, jaw harps. We even blew some jugs on this album, man. We're really excited about it, and it's been getting a pretty good response. Like live, anyways.
Right, and you guys already shot the first video for the lead-off single and everything. Tell us all about bowling.
We shot the hometown, in our hometown. We shot the video in our hometown. We went to my high school where I graduated, and we kind of got the surrounding counties, involved. We wanted everybody to be, in the video to stand up and get something that still exists. You know what I'm saying? Like bullying is something that happens every single day, and I didn't really get bullied growing up. I got initiated, because I played sports and, whatever. But it's not to say that an act of violence is bullying. I've been guilty myself of bullying. Words hurt too. So, but the whole message we were trying to put out, as far as the videos, was that violence begets violence, and sometimes the bully is the one that needs a hug. So, but regardless from that, we've had a few different episodes. I know a lady that's, well, not a lady, she's an 11-year-old girl. Her name's Jersey. She's been battling cancer for the past 8 months.
Right.
And she's my bass friend, my bass player's girlfriend, her kid. So I've known her for the past 3 years, and to actually have her come up, well, let me finish the story first. She's been battling cancer for 8 months, and it just turns out, found out a couple of weeks ago she's been cancer-free. And we did a little party for her and everything, but she actually walked up to me, and I couldn't help but, I know this is metalholic, but I couldn't help but cry a little bit, and feel a little bit, because this little girl walked up to me, and she said, Jared, she said cancer was my giant, and she said, and you helped me. And man, I just couldn't help but, give Jersey a big hug. I'm not gonna cry now. It's cool. But it's just one of those things. It's the single's about whatever your giant is.
Right.
It's up to you to overcome it. Don't sit there and let it keep bullying you. Stand up. Don't be silent. But that's what it's about, basically. And we got all the whole counties involved, and something pretty cool, man. I had fun at school that day.
Well, it's an awesome concept too, and the bullying thing has been really big lately, now that we've got more technology and they're doing it's not just getting picked on in school anymore.
It's not, man.
You can't go anywhere without running into people.
Not. It's kind of sad though, but it's good to get it's good to use that as motivation, to light a fire under your ass, to stand up for something, It's the stuff that happens every day,
Absolutely. We got a whole lot of weird stuff going on in the country right now too. Got probably the biggest election in our lifetime coming up.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on all that's going on right now?
My wife's a big Obama fan, man. My wife loves Obama, man. She's all about Obama. Me, personally, I've never really understood politics quite as well as others. I know the other guys in the band, they, a few in our band are Mitt Romney, and, some are pro-Obama, whatever. I just say, I just don't care who it is, man. Just don't let this country go to crap, man. This is a good country. This is a great country. This is the only country where you have the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and just don't make us go to hell, man. Let's just keep doing what we were doing, Let's stay a solid country, man. I just don't want any. I don't want somebody to come in there and then the depression comes in next, or anything like that. I'm patriotic, and whoever's our leader is our leader, man. I'm gonna support them. So
yeah, well they think that we could be looking at another civil war in the next few years in this country. You think that's possible?
I think anything's possible. Honestly, especially in these days and times, man. I think anything's is possible. Like the stuff that happened over in Israel, in the past, all that stuff. Of course, I grew up in the Bible Belt, but I'm not going to sit here and preach about the end of that, whatever. you believe in whoever you believe in, man. But whoever that might be, you can't deny that there's some pretty weird stuff going on right now. And you know, it's when you think of Civil War, if something like that actually happened, it's not as repulsive as it used to be. You know, like, no, we're not. That's not gonna, like, nowadays people can actually see it happening,
right?
And it kind of makes me nervous. You know what I'm saying? You know, I just watched The Patriot the other day with Mel Gibson.
Yep,
freaking awesome movie. You know, and then I get a Civil War question. But yeah, I think anything's possible now. I don't condone. I mean, I don't want it to happen by any means. I think, you know, if we could just stand up as people and talk, everything would be cool. I don't like to stay mad, though. You know, I'm just one of those type of people.
It's hard.
I'd rather forgive and get over it, man. You know.
So now you guys said you actually got some real time this time to write for this album. How does the writing process work within Saving Abel?
Well, when the first two albums, you know, it worked out on the road. We would write some on the road. You know, Addicted did so well for us. Thank you, guys. We love you for it. You know, when the second album came around, we were still touring off the Addicted because it was doing so well for us. You know, so we actually had to write that second album like on the bus, and then we'd fly into the studio, record a song, go back out and do 10 shows flying. And you know, and for me, I mean, call me stubborn or whatever. For me, it's just kind of hard because when I'm in touring mode, I'm in touring mode, and when I'm in studio mode, I'm in studio mode, and you know, so. That's what I was saying about this, and we actually got 6 months. We got time off to actually go in the studio, you know, and let the creative juices start flowing. You know, we didn't, you know, Jason, I, and Skid, you know, we are the writers of the band, and actually we allowed, you know, not allowed, but Bartlett, our guitarist, came in with a couple of songs on this round, and one of them actually made the album. It's one of my favorite songs on the album. It's called Constantly. But, you know, we wrote with a lot of different people on this album. We wrote with Rodney Clawson, we wrote with Mark Holmes, we wrote with Blair Daly, Marty Fredrickson. I mean, and it was just so cool to actually to get in and kind of see how other people work. You know, it's more of a collaboration rather than let's sit down and write a song. You know, and that's just how it happens. You know, a lot of these songs when I got with these people, me and Skid and Jason and Marty and Blair and all these guys, when we got with these people, the songs wrote themselves. Like, I don't know if that's easy to explain, you know, to people that doesn't write music, but like, to me, if it's something's working, you know, I'm not going to fight it, you know. And these songs, like Pictures of Elvis, wrote itself with us and Marty Fredrickson. I mean, we just started down, you know, singing a melody with Jason playing a guitar, and Marty's like, hey, I like that, you know. And then 2 hours later, we had the song done with our jaws dropped. And we're like, dude, that's a hit, man. We love that, you know. And that's always a good feeling to have. And you know, whereas, you know, some of the problems that we experienced on our, you know, Miss America album and, you know, the self-titled album before that was, you know, there wasn't a lot of time. You know, we'd get in the studio. We kind of signed a deal real quick, you know, like we kind of, as the music industry, the way I put it, was closing its door. We kind of just stuck our foot in there, and they liked what they heard. So they let us in and then shut the door, you know, thanks to you guys, you know, liking it. But, it's just one of those things, man, that we got to actually sit down and write on this album. The other two albums were kind of difficult, not to write, but difficult, you know, as far as to, you know, this is my job, this is what I do now, because you got a lot of other things going on around you. And I really think that we sat down and we really wrote what we felt was on our hearts, you know. And you know, a lot of the songs that Saving Abel is known for is sex songs, you know. Sex is good, Addicted, but, you know, you can't forget about the 18 days, you know, that we dedicate to our soldiers, you know. And we've got a lot of songs on this album that are so versatile. It's not just about rock and roll. You know, I grew up listening to Hank Williams Sr. You know, like my dad used to clean the house every Saturday and he'd pull the album out, you know. I grew up with my grandfather playing banjo on the front yard, you know, so I wasn't, rock turned me on. Like, rock was it for me. Like, I knew that's where my home was. But there was something else, you know, since I've been out here that I've noticed that the good music is good music. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where it comes from, you know. It doesn't matter, like, there's a band called the Civil Wars. I totally love them, man. You know, not a lot of people, you know. Phenomenal band. Absolutely wonderful. You know, my wife turns me on to all that. So, you know, but it's always good to keep an open mind, man. I don't care if it's just a cappella. If it's good, man. And that was one of the things that we stuck to on this album. We didn't really wrestle with the fact, well, I don't like it because it's not rock and roll enough. We didn't concentrate on that. We actually concentrated on the fact is this is how we feel, and it feels good coming out. And we have no questions about it, so we're not going to fight it. So that we ended up writing 40 different songs, and it became one of those problems. Like, it's a good problem. It became one of those problems like, what do we not put on the album? So I mean, whereas like I was comparing it to, you know, earlier, we didn't always have that problem. It was like, we've got to write 3 more songs to put on the album, whether they're good or not, you know. So this one, we actually had a little time, you know, to do it, and you know, and in the process, we signed a new record deal. You know, we signed with Entertainment One, it's an independent label, and those guys stepped in and did about 8 months of work. You know, because you've got to take pictures, you've got to write the thank yous, you got to do the booklets, you know, you've got to get the yes and the okays for the songs, and I mean, so much work done in like 2 months. I mean, and so those guys rock, man. Thank you, E1. I don't know why I felt like I had to say that, man, but it's like, you know, sometimes you just feel like you're reaching out for help, and these guys have actually reached back and pulled us in, man.
Well, that's awesome, man. And it is about, you know, the music is supposed to move you, and it's got to move you first before it's going to move the fans.
Right.
So, and if that's what comes out, it shouldn't matter what it sounds like.
That's one of my favorite things about writing, you know, like, not everything that you sing or everything that you write, like, do you necessarily agree with, but you're like, oh, it's a good melody or whatever, but there are moments, you know, when you know, you're listening to Jason play guitar or something, and you just start singing, or words just come to you, and like you just kind of stop, and you have to take a breath, and you're like, this is something that, you know, that relates to people. Like if it can get me like this, like it can get, you know, Daryl driving down the road going to work at 6:30 in the morning, you know, and that's one thing that, you know, that music. I'm not gonna say all music is like that nowadays, but there's a lot less passion, a lot less feel in soul, you know, like conviction, should I say, you know, like, but you know, there are some still good artists out there, man, and you know, they definitely motivate me, and it's just all about, you know, if I feel it, I'm gonna sing about it, you know. Sometimes, like, even if it makes me cry, like, I don't care, man. I'm not the only dude that cries, man.
It's hard to find people who can write songs like the ones that we grew up with that stick with us.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking,
endless,
especially
timeless.
Southern rock stuff. Skynyrd, ZZ Top, they're both here in the Valley this next month or two.
That's
ZZ
awesome,
was just here
man.
a couple nights ago.
That's awesome.
And I'm actually getting ready to do a couple articles on their best albums, so I'll ask you, for you, each band, what's your favorite ZZ Top or your favorite, or do you think is the best ZZ Top?
I'll go backwards, man. Like, okay, once I figured out 3 Doors Down was from Mississippi, they lit a fire under my ass, and I was like, well, if they can do it, sure as hell we can do it, you know? Okay, so being like that, okay, that's Southern rock and roll. You know, that's where it hit me. That's where, yes, this is what I want to do. But before all that, I had to learn how to play guitar. Now, the very first song I ever learned to play, my buddy Kevin taught it to me, was Freebird. And we're talking about the 15-minute live Play It Pretty for Atlanta version, you know, like, and you can say every musician goes through a Lynyrd Skynyrd phase, but man, it's something that I always enjoy. Every time, like, I got to meet Lynyrd Skynyrd a couple of years back, Uncasville, Connecticut, at the Mohegan Sun, and I looked like a little kid in a candy store. I mean, dude, I've got a picture of it, man. I look 13 years old. I'm just like smiling and cheesing. It was one of the greatest days of my life, man, to actually meet the people that, you know, the reason I'm here. You know, it's so awesome when you meet those people, because you got this idea of them in your head, but it's so awesome when you meet those people that they're like the idea in your head. They're nice, you know, they're respectful, you know, they're kind. You know, I've met some people that I've looked up to, and then like, I wished I never would have met you, you know. But
ruined my image.
Yeah, Skynyrd is definitely one of my all-time favorite bands, and they always will be, because they're a part of American culture for me. You know, that's just how I grew up. But you know, as we went on and I got past my Skynyrd phase, you know, I went into blues, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and you know, I started getting into Johnny Lang and all that stuff. Man, I've yet to meet Kenny Wayne Shepherd. I've wanted to meet him for a while, but man, yeah, I've always been a fan of this. The Southern, it brings something that, even if you're in California, man, look, here's what I say about rednecks. I'm a redneck. I'm from Mississippi. I'm the luckiest redneck in the world. But us rednecks, we're everywhere. So you can play Skynyrd in California and get the same feeling you can play in Florida and get the same feeling. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I love about rock and roll, how it just unites so many different types of people for one reason, you know?
But, you know, it's funny, when ZZ was here the other night, Billy Gibson.
And I like Tush, but
yeah.
Dude, that's one of my favorites.
And he says, we've been coming back here for 4 decades. Same 3 guys, same 3 chords.
Songs. Yes, 3-chord rock.
So, from those 2 bands, ZZ Top and Skynyrd, which album, if you could, is their best?
I like the Essentials, man. I mean, but Lynyrd Skynyrd Essentials is like it's like a disc of all the good ones on one. But now, I don't know a single album. I could tell you songs that I like, man.
It'd probably be Street Survivors if I know your background. So. And probably Tejas or something, or Tres Hombres would be like the perfect one for ZZ Top.
Yeah,
so before we get out of here, because I know you guys got to get ready and everything, do you remember the first song you ever wrote?
I do remember the first song I ever wrote, man. I learned, like I said, my buddy Kevin taught me how to play guitar, or at least showed me the chord. You know, I learned by ear, taught myself, whatever. The first song that he had was actually the first song that I ever wrote like not with Jason. I can tell you the song I first ever wrote with Jason, but the first song I ever wrote with my buddy Kevin was back in the day, man. It was you know, we were learning to play in church and stuff like that, and we wrote a song called "I Will Follow You" and played it in church at my mom and dad's church, and that was the first time I've ever been on stage with a guitar, you know. So like even though we're at church, you know, I wanted to like do this and be like, yo, rock and roll, but you know, that was the first song I ever learned to play. I remember it to this day, man. My uncle's a preacher at the church we played at, and I think about it every now and then, but it's good to think about those moments, man, because it kind of reminds you of who you were and who you know, where you were and where you are now and who you are now as a man. So
perfect.
Yeah.
So we'll bring it full circle with the last question then.
All
we
right.
talked about the new album, Bringing Down the Giant,
right.
And it's all about bringing down your particular giant, whatever that might be.
Back from being...
What's your giant? Which one are you bringing
Tell you
down?
what, man, I don't know if this is confessions from VH1 or whatnot. I don't know, man, but you know, sometimes when you get out here on the road, like life gets really distracting when it's handed to you on a platter. And I took up Oxycontin for about 1.5 years, and it totally. Sometimes you don't know who you are until you get back and take a look. And I didn't like who I was, so I had to change that on my own. Especially, you know, now that I'm married and I got a kid, and had to move on from that. But it's definitely you know, it's a mental game from here on out. But that was my giant, and it's still my giant. You know, not because I don't take Oxy anymore. You know, I haven't taken it since last Thanksgiving, but it's still a giant that comes knocking on the door, you know, that you have to refuse. Or,
yep.
But I don't mean to get all
for the rest of your life.
But I'm just saying, like, you know, I guess the lesson to be learned is, you know, drugs are bad. They do turn you into something you don't expect you would be. But then again, I got my family, so you know, I want to be alive to be a dad to teach my daughter that. So.
Awesome.
That's about the best answer I can give, you know.
Jared, Saving Abel, Bringing Down the Giant, the new album. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me, man.